Our first journey would be through the epipelagic zone that is found just on the surface of the water and typically extends 50 to 100 meters in depth. As we dive into the zone, the view becomes magical. You can find whales, dolphins, jellyfish, sea turtles, big-eyed tuna, and stingrays. As you look out the right window, there you'll see a jellyfish we call the moon jelly. Moon jellyfish are round in shape and have a translucent look. Some plants that are found in the epipelagic zone are kelp, red and brown algae, seagrasses, and even mangroves. The epipelagic zone is where all photosynthesis takes place because it is the only zone where light is available.
The second zone we adventure into is the mesopelagic zone. Here the depth we will be traveling through is from 200 to 1,000 meters. Down here the temperature starts at around 68 degrees Fahrenheit and goes down to about 39 degrees Fahrenheit. Here come some of the first organisms now, some lanternfish. These lanternfish like to grow from 2 to 20 centimeters and they can eat zooplankton and other small fish. They also have the potential to live up to 8 years, but most of them live between 1 and 5 years. As we are diving deeper into the mesopelagic zone, we are going to discover some amazing creatures, like these glass jellyfish. Glass jellyfish usually live for a few months to a few years, and some die after reproducing. They usually grow up to about 4 to 5 inches, and some of them are transparent, hence their name, glass jellyfish. A little bit further down, we see snippy eels. These creepy eels can grow up to about 5 feet long and live for about 10 years. These little guys can only weigh about 1 pound, and they eat small crustaceans. A little ways further down, we're going to start seeing jellyfish, but these just aren't any normal jellyfish. These are atoll jellyfish. These jellyfish eat crustaceans and have a wide range in growth. They can grow from 1.5 inches to 12 feet. So if you run into these guys, you don't need to be worried about being stung because they're not poisonous. The second to last organism that we're going to see is the toothfish. Since they like to dwell near the 900 to 1,000 meter mark, these guys can live up to about 50 years. And they like to eat squids, crustaceans, and other fish. They're pretty big fish considering they can grow up to 7.5 feet and 220 pounds. Finally, the last organism we are going to see in the zone is the Argyropelacus aculeatus. This fish is very small, only growing up to about 2.8 inches, and they like to eat conchoid, ostracods, and these little guys only weigh about 20.9 grams.
Now, as we get deeper into our zones, we have the bathypelagic zone, which has a depth of 1,000 meters to 4,000 meters and a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius. We see all these amazing animals such as the bristlemouth fish, which has the most vertebrates on Earth with trillions of them swimming in the twilight zone. If we go a little bit deeper, we have a gulper eel, which is black and sometimes with a white line or a groove on either side of the dorsal fin. Next to that, we have a black swallower, which is about 25 centimeters long, and it eats animals larger than itself, which expands its stomach. Further down, we have a sperm whale that can grow up to 60 feet. And the rare seen animal is a vampire squid. They're rarely seen because how deep they live, and they can produce their own light, which is how they live so deep. And then we have a frilled shark, which gets its name from the frilly appearance of its gills, and they swallow whole and they swim exactly like an eel.
Now as we descend into our final zone of the ocean, the abyssal pelagic zone, it can be as deep as 4,000 meters to 6,000 meters. Here, life is very different than any other zone, like the fact that there's absolutely no sunlight, which means it is very cold. Temperatures can drop as low as 2 degrees Celsius. All the wildlife here is also pretty unusual. Due to the low light, low temperatures, and high pressure, the animals have adapted to live comfortably here. Some of the animals here are the vampire squid, viperfish, dragonfish, and the most abundant of all fishes, the lanternfish. One such animal is the humpback anglerfish. The humpback anglerfish uses its bioluminescence in its antenna to lure unsuspecting fish into their mouth to be eaten. As you can see, the abyssal pelagic zone is very interesting.
And finally, we now conclude our journey with the hedopelagic zone. And look, there's a sea cucumber. These guys can grow all the way up to 6 feet and as little as 2.5 centimeters. And what's interesting about these guys is that they eat tiny particles of algae and they can live from a range of 5 to 10 years old. Further down, almost reaching the bottom, we see bristleworms. These guys grow from 1 to 6 inches and they like to eat plankton. Interestingly enough about these worms is that they only live from a week all the way to a month old. One of the shelled creatures down here we will see is a bivalve. This organism grows from a range of 1 millimeter all the way to 56 inches and can weigh a whopping 582 pounds. They typically live up to 3 years old before death.